All right, so today we're really diving deep into this whole Bored Ape Yacht Club thing.
Yeah,
And judging by, honestly, this stack of articles, market analysis, even some future plans you sent over,
right.
seems like you really want to understand what's beyond all the hype.
Definitely.
Good for you,
Yeah. Yeah.
because this BYC thing, it's seriously got people talking, right?
It really does. It's pretty polarizing.
Yeah, super polarizing. Like,
Yeah.
people either think it's like, the future of something, or they're like, it's a JPEG? What?
Exactly. Yeah. I think people either think it's like, this cultural revolution, or they're like, why would anyone spend a dime on this?
Exactly. And you've clearly spotted there's got to be more to the story, which is why we're here to do some digging.
Exactly.
So for anyone listening who might, just be joining us on this whole journey, let's start with the basics. What exactly is the Bored Ape Yacht Club?
So, um, in the simplest terms, it's a collection of 10,000 unique NFTs. But you already know that part.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what's really interesting, I think, is what makes them unique.
So each ape is algorithmically generated, meaning a computer program basically mixes and matches over 175 different traits to create each image.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see. So it's like, like those avatar generators online where you can like make your little person or whatever, but it's, for bored-looking apes
Yeah.
and with like way higher stakes.
Right, yeah, and a lot more traits.
Yeah, we're talking clothes and accessories, expressions, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly, yeah. You could have one ape with laser eyes and a sailor hat, while another one is wearing a tweed suit with a bored expression.
And in your notes, you mentioned you were curious about the tech behind this.
I was, yeah.
So essentially, NFTs are like digital deeds, right?
Yeah.
Guaranteeing your ownership of a unique item.
Right.
So when you own a Bored Ape NFT, it's like you own the original Mona Lisa, but, digital, there's only one.
Exactly, there's only one. That's the main thing.
Which I guess is where that whole digital fingerprint idea comes in. Yeah.
That I keep hearing about. It's like, you know, that makes sense to me. People, collectors especially, they go wild for that kind of stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Everyone wants to own something that no one else has, right?
Absolutely. Scarcity and uniqueness are definitely a huge part of the appeal. But,
Yeah.
From what you sent over, it seems like you're interested in the idea that BAYC is a lot more than just a digital picture, right?
Sure,
Yeah.
for sure. That's what I'm most curious about. Like, what does ising a Bored Ape actually get you?
Mm.
Besides, bragging rights to a really, really expensive JPEG.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a great question.
Yeah.
This is where we get into the community and utility that's tied to owning a Bored Ape. Think of it like, those exclusive clubs where you need to be a member to get access to all the perks and benefits.
Okay.
But in this case, it's all digital.
So like a digital clubhouse.
Exactly.
Okay, so what kind of perks are we talking about here?
Well, for starters, owning a Bored Ape gets you into their private Discord server. Imagine a massive online hangout spot, but only for BAYC owners. But goes beyond that. You get access to exclusive merchandise, invites to real-life events, even new NFT airdrops. It's like, owning a Bored Ape is like having a VIP pass to a whole world, both online and offline, that's built around BAYC.
Okay, so there's definitely that social element then, right? Like, you're buying into this community. You're not just buying the digital image, you're buying into a community. And not just any community. We're talking like your research mentions Snoop Dogg, Eminem.
Yes.
They own apes.
They do, yeah. Some big names are involved.
Wow. Okay, now that's cool. It makes a lot of sense, though. You get celebrities, exclusivity, that all kind of goes hand in hand.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a good recipe for getting attention, and it's clearly working because this whole vibrant community you're describing,
Yeah.
it's gotten a lot of attention. And let's be honest, some serious money is flowing into BAYC.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of which, you sent over some market analysis that really caught my eye. Clearly, this isn't just a hobby for some people.
Right.
What's the financial picture look like for BAYC these days?
Yeah, so the market analysis from Ebeline.ai shows that the BAYC market is actually still going really strong. The floor price, it's basically the lowest price for any ape in the collection.
Okay.
That's currently sitting at 79.2 ETH.
Okay, and for those of us who, don't have our crypto wallets open right this second,
Right.
how much is that in, regular money?
Yeah, so right now, that translates to around $121,500.
Oh, 6 figures just to get in the door.
Yeah.
So based on the material you sent, if I wanted to join this club today, that's the bare minimum I'd be looking at spending.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's a pretty penny, for sure. But it's important to remember that that's just the entry point.
Right.
The value of individual apes, it can fluctuate a lot
Oh.
based on the unique traits, market demand, all that.
Right, right. Like any kind of, I guess, collectible. Right. Supply and demand, the name of the game.
Exactly.
And speaking of market fluctuations, you included some stuff about early adopters making out like bandits.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
There was that one sale.
Yeah.
I think it was hashtag 6588.
Yes.
That just blew my mind.
It's a big one.
Millions of dollars for one Bored Ape.
I know, right?
Tell me about that. What was going on there?
So Bored Ape, hashtag 6588, it recently sold for, get this, 769.9 ETH.
Okay, and just to put that in perspective, because that's a big number. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that's millions and millions of dollars.
Millions. Okay, wow.
For one ape. And this particular ape, it had this really rare combination of traits, which is what made it so desirable to collectors.
So it's like finding that rare Pokemon card, or like that misprinted stamp that's worth like a gazillion bucks.
100%. It's the same principle.
So it's like those kinds of sales. I mean, you can see why people get swept up.
Oh yeah.
In the hype and the excitement.
Totally understandable.
Because if you're the one cashing in, that's life-changing money.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes you think,
right,
what's next?
Exactly. So, what is next for BAYC?
What?
Are they just going to ride this wave?
Right.
Or did your research uncover any bigger plans, like grand schemes? What's going on?
Well, it looks like Yuga Labs, the creators of BAYC, they've got a much bigger vision.
Okay.
That goes way beyond just digital collectibles.
Okay.
We're talking about integrating BYC into the metaverse.
Okay, now we're getting into some buzzwords here.
I know.
Metaverse, and I've got to be honest with you, I get what it is conceptually, but I need you to bring it down to earth for me a little bit.
For sure.
How does the metaverse change things for BAYC?
Okay, so we talked about how owning an ape gets you into this exclusive digital clubhouse.
Right.
Right. Imagine, instead of just hanging out in the clubhouse, you can actually walk around as your ape avatar.
Okay.
In this fully immersive virtual world.
Yeah.
Okay. And your research even mentioned virtual events, concerts, real estate, all happening within this BAYC metaverse.
So it's like taking that clubhouse and expanding it expensially.
Exactly.
So you're not just logging on to Discord anymore.
Right.
You're putting on your VR headset.
Exactly.
And you're at a concert with thousands of other ape avatars.
Yes, and they're all unique.
And it's all wow.
I know, it's pretty mind-blowing.
It really is. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't know, I kind of like it.
It's exciting. And it makes you think about digital ownership in a whole new way.
Yeah, because I think one of the things that people struggle with digital art is, you said it yourself earlier.
Yeah.
It's pixels on a screen. How do you put a value?
Right, exactly, because anything can be copied.
Exactly.
So it's how can you say this one is worth something when you can just right-click and save it?
Yeah, exactly. But what BAYC is doing is they're creating this tangible value.
Yes.
And experience around those pixels.
Exactly. And I think that's what's really clever here.
Yeah.
They're blurring the lines between the digital and the real.
It's true. Because we were talking about, you get into the clubhouse, you get the merch, you get to go to events. Now you're talking about a whole digital world.
I know, it's pretty amazing.
These are all experiences.
Absolutely.
And experiences have value regardless of whether it's in the real world.
Right, exactly.
Or in the metaverse.
You got it.
You've got to hand it to them.
They're ambitious.
They're not lacking in ambition.
That's for sure.
But this whole thing, it really does raise some interesting questions, right? What does it all mean?
It really does. Are we all just living in the metaverse now? Is that what's happening?
Right. I don't know about you, but this whole deep dive.
Yeah.
It's definitely got me thinking, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Before we started this whole thing, I was a little skeptical.
Right.
I don't know. I wasn't sure if I got it,
Right.
But seeing how BYC has built this whole universe around community, exclusivity, even potential real world value.
Yeah.
And it all started from digital art.
I know.
It's really challenged my perspective, I got to be honest.
It's definitely one of those things that it can be hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning, because it's
totally.
Everyone's always talking about, oh, it's a fad, it's going to go away, it's just hype, but...
Right, exactly.
But what I think is so fascinating about what BYC is doing is they're tapping into something very human. you know?
Oh, totally. Like
That need to belong.
That's it, that need to belong to something, to express your individuality.
Yes, and to own something special. Like, that's always been a thing. But BYC is figuring out how that looks in the digital age and,
It's like they're building a digital society.
Exactly. It's like its own world, its own economy, even.
Complete with its own, like, culture. Like, it's wild.
It's really incredible. I mean,
It's kind of mind-blowing when you really, like,
it's a lot.
It's a lot, but it's cool. It's cool.
It is. It's definitely cool. And it kind of makes you think about that whole utility thing we were talking about earlier, but like on a much grander scale.
Yes.
Because now it's not just about getting into the clubhouse.
Right.
It's like you're Bored Ape. It's your ticket into this whole digital society.
Oh, 100%. And you sent over this one article. It was from the New Yorker, I think.
Oh, yeah.
That was really exploring this idea of digital societies.
It was. It was a really interesting read.
Yeah, what was it that, like, stuck out to you? What really, like...
You know what it was? It was that BAYC is challenging, like, how we think about value.
Oh, okay.
Because in the physical world, it's all about scarcity, tangibility,
Right.
Like you can hold it, it's rare.
Yeah.
But in the digital world, everything can be copied.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing.
So it's not about that. It becomes more about the story.
Oh, okay.
The community, the shared experience.
So it's almost like we're writing a new rule book.
Exactly.
For what's considered valuable.
Yes, and that's what makes this so exciting.
Wow.
Because BAYC is like right at the forefront of it.
At the cutting edge.
Yeah, like they're making the rule book as they go.
Wow. That's a lot of pressure.
That's true. But they seem to be handling it pretty well.
They do. And, they've definitely given us a lot to think about today.
For sure.
So before we wrap up, any final thoughts for our listeners?
Ooh, final thoughts.
As they continue, on their journey, exploring BAYC.
Yeah, well, I mean, we talked about the metaverse, digital societies, all this crazy stuff.
We did. We went there.
But, when you really boil it down, the Bored Ape Yacht Club,
Yeah.
It all comes back to this question of value.
Okay.
Like, what do we value? Is it scarcity? Is it community? Or is it the stories that we tell ourselves about what's important?
Wow.
And I think that's something worth thinking about as you, go down this rabbit hole.
Deep stuff. Those are the questions right there.
They really are.
I love it. Well, you've given us a lot to ponder today.
Of course. Happy to be here.
So until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and remember,
there's always more to uncover.